Ever heard of a singer so good, he taught Marvin Gaye how to sing? And get this, Elton John called him his favorite, the most underrated R&B artist ever. We're talking about Billy Stewart, a giant of soul music from Washington, D.C. He had a voice unlike anyone else, a style that drove crowds wild, and hits that defined an era. But despite his incredible talent and influence, his name often gets lost in the annals of music history. Why? Because his life, as brilliant as it was, ended in a mystery that changed everything. Let's dive into the untold story of Billy Stewart. Born on the 24th of March 1937 in the heart of Washington, D.C., Billy Stewart came from a family drenched in music. His mother, Emma Stewart, showed him the piano keys when he was just 8. The family sang gospel, and by age 12, Billy was harmonizing with his brothers in a group called the Four Stewart Brothers. They even had their own radio show on WST, singing every week for 5 years. But young Billy wasn't just about gospel. He loved secular music too, especially the incredible scat singing of Ella Fitzgerald. As a teenager, Billy became a local sensation. He crushed talent shows, even winning one with his stunning rendition of Summertime from Gershwin's opera, Porgy and Bess. He often competed against another future star. Herb Fame of Peaches and Herb, D.C., was a hotbed of talent, and everyone knew everyone. Then, legendary guitarist Bo Diddley moved to Washington, D.C., and set up a recording studio right in his basement. It became the spot for every young, talented artist in the city. A young Marvin Gaye, still singing doo-wop with his group The Marquis, recorded there. And guess who else? Billy Stewart. Billy and Marvin Gaye weren't just studio mates. They sang together in a group called the Rainbows. And here's the kicker. According to Billy's own band members, Billy Stewart taught Marvin Gaye how to sing. Think about that for a moment. One of the greatest voices of all time, mentored by Billy. Don Covey, who later wrote hits for Aretha Franklin and Chubby Checker, was also in that group. Bo Diddley was blown away by Billy's unique singing and piano skills. He offered Billy a spot in his band. So Billy packed his bags and headed to Chicago, the home of Chess Records, the powerhouse label that housed legends like Muddy Waters, Etta James, and Chuck Berry. Soon, Leonard Chess himself noticed Billy's raw talent and signed him as a solo artist. Billy's first single, Billy's Blues, made some local noise, but didn't hit the charts. So he went back to D.C., tried another label, and released a couple more singles, including Baby, You're My Only Love with Marvin Gaye and the Marquis on background vocals. But nothing clicked. Billy took a break, missing the stage like crazy. In 1962, Billy made his triumphant return to Chess Records. His first release back, Reap What You Sow, climbed to number 18 on the R&B charts. The B-side, a song called Fat Boy, a playful nod to the nickname people gave him because of his weight. Billy was a big guy, and he battled health issues like diabetes, which would sadly become a recurring theme in his life. But his music spoke loudest. In 1965, he dropped his debut album, I Do Love You. The title track was a smash, hitting number 6 on the R&B chart and number 26 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was a classic, a grown folks music anthem that even made it into movies years later. Next up was Sitting in the Park, another beloved track that soared to number 4 on the Soul chart and number 24 on the Hot 100. These songs cemented Billy's place in the R&B world. With success came the road. Billy toured relentlessly, playing legendary venues like the Apollo and joining Dick Clark's Caravan of Stars with other big names. He was a force to be reckoned with on stage. The following year, 1966, brought his second album, Unbelievable. The lead single was a new version of Summertime, the very song he used to win talent shows as a teen. This time, Summertime exploded. It hit number 10 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 7 on the R&B chart, and even charted in the UK and Canada. Maurice White of Earth, Wind & Fire actually played drums on that version, adding to its magic. Summertime wasn't just a hit, it crossed Billy over to the pop charts, making him a household name. You can even find videos of him performing it, radiating pure joy. But with great success came great problems. Billy believed he deserved writing credit and publishing royalties for Summertime because he had added his unique ad-libs and vocal style. He kept hounding Leonard Chess about it. Leonard, tired of the constant badgering, gave Billy an address in New York and told him to go ask George Gershwin himself. So, Billy, believing Gershwin was alive, drove all the way to Queens, New York, to the address Leonard Chess had given him. What did he find? George Gershwin's gravesite. Gershwin had been dead for decades. Leonard Chess had sent Billy on a wild goose chase, mocking his demand for publishing. Billy was furious, and rightly so. Etta James herself recounted this story in her book, confirming Billy's outrage. Billy Stewart was no joke when it came to his money. Rumors flew that he once pulled out a gun and started shooting downstairs at Chess Records over royalties. Another wild story from Johnny Taylor, the R&B singer, claimed Billy and Wilson Pickett once got into a shootout on a tour bus over a dice game. Thankfully, no one was hurt. These stories, whether fully true or exaggerated, paint a picture of a fiery, no-nonsense artist who fought for what he believed was his. In 1967, Billy released Billy Stewart Teaches Old Standards New Tricks, featuring Secret Love, a remake of Doris Day's hit, which reached number 11 on the R&B charts. He even toured the UK, where he reportedly got into a fight with audience members making fun of his weight. It was also in the UK that he met a young Elton John, who was deeply inspired by Billy's music. The year 1968 brought more success with his album Cross My Heart and the charting single of the same name, but it also brought profound tragedy. Some of his band members were burned to death in a horrific car accident when their vehicle overturned and exploded. Out of 5 members, only 2 survived. This event deeply shook Billy. Then, in 1969, Billy was involved in a motorcycle accident, adding to his health woes. His diabetes was worsening, exacerbated by his weight, which was well over 300 pounds. The strains of life and touring were taking their toll. On the 17th of January 1970, the music world lost Billy Stewart. He died in a car accident in North Carolina, just 32 years old, with so much more to give. The story goes that Billy was scheduled to perform in Columbia, South Carolina. He was driving his brand new Ford Thunderbird, a car he'd bought just 12 days earlier. 3 of his band members were with him. 2 other band members followed in a separate car. They had finished a show at 2 a.m., checked into their hotels around 2:45 a.m., and were up by 7:30 a.m., hitting the road by 8 a.m. for the next gig. Reports from that day painted a grim picture. Billy was on Interstate 95 inches North Carolina. He may have lost control of his Thunderbird, hitting an embankment on a bridge before plunging into the Neuse River. Another report suggested his car's wheels might have locked up. Witnesses said his car veered from the highway, ran along a median, struck the bridge, curbing, and then plummeted into the freezing river. Everyone in the car, Billy Stewart, Norman P. Rich, William Cathy, Enrico Hightower, died from drowning, trapped inside the submerged vehicle. It was winter, and the cold was brutal. Billy's manager, who was in the car following behind, noticed something unsettling that morning. He said Billy's car wheels were wobbling when they left Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Billy told him he'd get them checked in Columbia, South Carolina. The manager also recounted how, as they approached the bridge, a sudden locking of the wheels and the bridges sloped through the car into the air. It struck a pole supporting the bridge, almost splitting in half, then plunged into the Neuse River, vanishing instantly. Benny Deere, the drummer in Billy's band, was in the van following the Thunderbird. He saw Billy's car move from the right lane to the left to pass another vehicle, and then he witnessed Billy struggling with the steering wheel. Even more chilling, Billy's family had seen him just days before with his new Thunderbird. The brakes weren't working right. He almost crashed into a building where everyone was gathered. His family had urged him to take the car back to the dealership or get it fixed immediately. The small town of Smithfield, North Carolina, was in shock. Nothing like this ever happened there. Hundreds of people gathered at the scene. Witnesses stated that it took almost 2 to 3 hours to pull the car and bodies out of the river, even though the river wasn't particularly deep. Some felt that with more effort, faster rescue might have saved them. Billy's funeral, a heartbreaking event, featured his classic I Do Love You. But the story didn't end there. His wife filed a lawsuit against Ford Motor Company, arguing that a defect in the steering or brakes caused the horrific accident. The case dragged through 4 trials. Ford initially won, but Billy's wife appealed, and the court sided with her, sending the case back. Eventually, it settled out of court. In 1979, Ford Motor Company paid a $500,000 settlement to the families of the victims. Billy Stewart's impact continued to resonate. In 2002, he was inducted into the Washington Area Music Association Hall of Fame. The following year, his version of Summertime was featured in the movie Stuck on You. In 2021, he received another honor, joining the National Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame, a powerful documentary, Fat Boy, The Billy Stewart Story, made by Beverly Lindsay Johnson for PBS, further cemented his legacy. And Johnson recalled falling in love with I Do Love You as a 1-2-year-old, a testament to the timeless appeal of his music. Billy Stewart was only 32 years old when he died. Think about that. A young man just hitting his stride with a voice that captivated legends and audiences alike, gone far too soon. What more could he have achieved? What other musical magic could he have created? His tragic death left a void in the music world, and his name, though perhaps not as famous as those he influenced, deserves to be remembered. So, do yourself a favor. Go listen to Billy Stewart's music. Share his story. Let's make sure the underrated genius finally gets the recognition he truly deserves.